Hello friends, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Shanghai Pete, your good buddy in the mix. Looks like someone's got a case of the Mondays. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. I take that back. I know it's an awful thing to say. Just because I'm off today doesn't mean y'all are. Hopefully we can entertain you for a little bit, take your mind off work. There is a lull in video gaming news, or at least news I care about. So today, we're just gonna have some fun and talk about one of my favorite games of all time, Doom. Those of you who put a few points into the keen observer talent may have already suspected that I hold, shall we say, just a bit of reverence for that particular franchise. Yep, from 1993 classic Doom to the ill-fated flip phone Doom RPG to the modern Doom Eternal, I love it all. Well, in the interest of specificity, however, I will say that while I do have a lot of love for the modern games, my fondness for the original Doom and Doom 2 far outshines it. And then there was that mobile Doom game called Mighty Doom, which was, of course, shit, so naturally I hate that, and... okay, never mind. No, let's just say for the most part, I love Doom. I'm trying to be positive here. Especially the original, which is largely responsible for not only the entire modern FPS genre, but also it's the grandfather of game modding in general. Whether you were like me and my friends using wolfedit.exe to cover the wall textures of Wolfenstein 3D and low-resolution pornography, or among the slightly more sophisticated people endlessly editing Doom 1993, it's impossible to deny that the foundation of game modding lies solely in those id Software classics. And if you like FPSs or sprite-based classic games at all and haven't been keeping up with that modding scene, you, my dear G, are missing out. More than 20 years later, the modding scene has ensured that Doom remains one of the most popular games of all time, to say nothing of being almost solely responsible for people's belief that Bethesda has ever made a good game. So today, let's get deep inside the Doom modding scene and talk about the top 5 mods and total conversions for classic Doom and Doom 2 from 1993. We of course must begin with Brutal Doom by Sergeant Mark IV. These days, any conversation about Doom or Doom mods must begin here, largely credited with the resurgence of the modern Doom modding scene by people who only sort of know what they're talking about, and as one of the few amongst many that helped revolutionize the scene entirely, despite it not having gone anywhere, by people who definitely know what they're talking about. Brutal Doom somehow found the balance between modern mechanics and the original old school flavor of the Doom franchise, turned it all the way up to 11.
These go to 11.
Glory kills, new weapons, new animations, new mechanics, an entirely new gore system, new difficulty modifiers, a dodge system, emotes, and more. Even if you aren't a big Doom fan, this mod went viral so quickly and so severely, you probably are guaranteed to have heard about it when it first dropped a few years ago. Any modern experience of classic Doom should start right here. I won't go so far as to say that it must, as for some classic purists and fans, it's not really to taste, and I get that. It is a rather drastic overhaul, but it is to my taste, so I wholeheartedly recommend you check it out. Don't forget to grab the new soundtrack remixes by Andrew Hirschult as well, they're all bangers. The link to this stuff, as well as everything mentioned in the video, will be in the description box down below. Next, on to the total conversions. A total conversion, for the uninitiated, is exactly what it sounds like. Classic Doom or Doom 2 with just about everything completely replaced to make it look like a totally different game. Probably one of the most famous, if not the oldest, is the Aliens TC, Aliens Eradication. We have to mention it here as it's one of the godfathers of the Doom total conversion scene, but while it remains awesome, totally worth playing to this day, it has been surpassed in recent years by stuff like the first on our list, Wolfenstein Blade of Agony, by the absolute geniuses over at Realm 667. I think the guys behind it describe it best, so I'm just gonna read from the About page on their site for you. Blade of Agony is a story-driven FPS. The project is inspired by World War II shooters from the 90s and early 2000s like Wolfenstein 3D, Medal of Honor, and Call of Duty, but with faster-paced gameplay in the spirit of Doom. The game can be played standalone using the GZ Doom engine as a base. It's 1942, and the war approaches its peak. The US has joined the Allied forces and the Soviets are pushing back the front in the east. The tides of war are turning and Hitler's victory seems more and more beyond his grasp, but the Nazis, refusing to capitulate, have grown obsessed with human experiments and occult artifacts, in which they see a potential escape from their final doom. The Allied leaders reject this possibility as nonsense. Nonetheless, some still fear what the Führer might be up to. The situation is nebulous, however, and little is certain. You are Captain William B.J. Blazkowicz, an Allied spy, a fearless risk-taker, and the greatest soldier to ever take up arms in World War II. Your role has changed, though. You've retired from active duty and now you spearhead operations as a systems analyst. You thought it would be the right choice, leading and motivating instead of doing the dirty work, but lately you've grown restless. At least until a few days ago when you received an encrypted message from your old friend and comrade, Captain Douglas Blake, calling you back to duty. Haha, man, what a great fucking setup, right? Features. Blade of Agony is much more than just a pastiche of the classic shooters that inspired it. The project will offer a unique experience. It also has many features not often seen in source port projects. Blade of Agony truly pushes GZ Doom to its limits. 30 playable and unique levels in 3 different chapters, plus secret maps, orchestra quality game music, voice acting and ambient soundscapes, available in 10 different languages, a combination of low poly models and high resolution sprite assets to create the perfect retro feeling, devastating armaments from the battlefields of World War II, interactive NPCs that support the twisted plot's progress and helps you understand the game, improved enemy AI for more dynamic and challenging fights, beautiful special effects, weather elements, explosions, etc., and modern post-processing shaders, motion and effect blur, noise flares, etc. Although any real PC gamer will immediately go and turn off motion blur. But that aside. Now, if that plus the video footage I've been showing doesn't convince you to play this, I doubt anything ever will, but you would be making a mistake. This is like a mashup of the genius of sprite-based shooters and the best of Call of Duty back from like the 360 days, mixed with the level design and puzzle construction of peak Deus Ex. Not only is it utterly fantastic, but it's got the depth and playtime of any corporate game on the market today. You will need more than just a weekend to play through this, and you will love every second of it. If you play anything from this video today, it's tough to choose one, but I would probably say it has to be Blade of Agony. It's really fucking insanely good. Next up is a game called Countrycide, a survival horror prequel chapter to another mod called Trenchfoot, a, surprise surprise, 40k inspired Imperial Guard trench fighting total conversion by Trenchworks. Here's the description from their ModDB page. Step into the boots of Master Templar, the fanatical and ruthless enforcer of the one true faith. Pick your way through the disease-ridden, irradiated trenchworks of Cretu and wage apocalyptic holy war on the sinful enemies of the Kanakate. Survive the evil unleashed by heresy and struggle with over 15 and counting new enemy types from corrupted militia and cultists to demonic and netherworld horrors. Utilize 14 holy instruments of war to excommunicate with extreme prejudice. Fall to your knees in awe of the holy miracle of new gameplay features and visual effects. Say your prayers and confess your sins. Take your rad meds and check between your toes for worm sign. Trenchfoot slouches onwards, waiting to be born. Ho ho. Fuck yes, indeed. There's only a demo of the main project out now, and it's already fucking fire. I suggest you go check it out. But this, Countrycide, is a survival horror prequel, totally self-contained, takes about 2 hours to play through or so. It's absolutely incredible. Master-crafted assets from all the sprite work down to the weapons, systems, environment, and atmosphere. This level of quality is rarely seen, even in corporate games, to say nothing of a completely independent project by just a few guys who aren't even being paid. If you're wondering where the love and passion can be found in this desolate hellscape we call the modern gaming industry, it's right here, in projects like this. If you like Doom, FPSs, survival horror, absolutely check this out. Next is Simon's Destiny, and oh my effing god, geez, this one knocked my fucking socks clean off. Somehow, this came out almost 7 years ago and I totally missed it. This is a complete, faithful remake of the very first Castlevania game for the NES, but in Doom. All levels of the NES classic are here, including some choice remixes of the original soundtrack as well, Vampire Killer, anybody? And it is beyond gorgeous. A genuine love letter to both Doom and Castlevania. I played through this straight in one sitting one night. It's practically flawless. My girlfriend almost fucking killed me. Even better, it is a completely standalone free-to-play project. You don't need any of the original Doom mods to play it, just a recent version of the GZ Doom engine. As always, all links can be found in the description box down below. Fuck with this one. Fuck with this one. Fuck with this one. Moving on, next we've got Ashes 2063 and its other 2 episodes, Afterglow and Hard Reset. This one, while admittedly not my favorite of all of them, remains still, without a doubt, one of the most impressive Doom projects we've seen in years. Here's this description from the Doom Wiki. Ashes 2063 is a total conversion for the GZ Doom engine developed by Vostok. Set in a post-apocalyptic world overrun with radiation, vicious mutants, and marauding gangs, the player takes control of a scavenger, or scav, who loots abandoned buildings and militia camps for valuable items to sell at various settlements. Amid growing hostilities between gangs in the area, the scav embarks on a dangerous journey to determine the source of a mysterious radio signal that has been broadcasting from the ruins of a nearby abandoned and irradiated metropolis. A sequel, Ashes Afterglow, was released later in 2022. I haven't played the sequel, but I have played through the initial release twice, as well as its prequel, Ashes Hard Reset. They're both incredible works. Playing a little bit like a combination between Rage, Fallout, and Bioshock, all 3 episodes of Ashes are a little slap us and come highly recommended. As with most of these though, you will need the OG WAD files to play, so make sure you find a torrent of that or pay the $5 on Steam, whichever. Last on our list, though certainly not least, is Extermination Day. While technically not a total conversion, as it's essentially a remake of Doom and Doom 2, but in the Doom engine with Doom assets based around the Brutal Doom mod, it is practically unfucking believable, and it's one of my favorites to play through, so it gets placed on this list. Here's the description from Altar of Gaming. Made by Sergeant Mark IV, who is probably best known for making Brutal Doom, this mod is a fully developed mod that takes the levels from the first 2 games, turns them all the way up to 11. There are 32 levels in total, divided into 3 episodes similar to the original Doom. Everything in the mod is made with careful planning, passion, dedication. Things like lighting, enemy placements, textures, and level layout are all high quality stuff. The levels have a natural flow to them, and it feels like you're actually progressing towards your goal. With plenty of challenges and secrets, the mod also allows you to fight alongside fellow Marines, which is really cool, and even carry them to the next level if they don't die, of course. I got obsessed with redoing levels over and over and over and over, trying to make sure I lost as few as possible. The highlight of this mod is definitely the invasion of Earth and the urban maps, and I agree with that, which create a great atmosphere and manage to show the real hell on Earth. I definitely agree with its description here, but I must reiterate just how fucking well done this is. It's seriously modern AAA assets and level design, but on an indie or smaller budget scale. In fact, it almost feels like it started out as a corporate game, and this is the result of like a faithful downport or something. Most corporate devs would kill to have even a tenth of the talent showcased here. Once again, the theme of this video really shines through, which is that genuine passion and creativity beat money and AAA corporate committee design every fucking time. Thank God for people like Sergeant Mark IV and all the incredibly talented and dedicated creators across all mod scenes. If there is such a thing as God's work, y'all are definitely doing it. Finally tonight, we have just a few minutes for honorable mentions. Now, to be clear, these aren't being left to honorable mentions because they maybe aren't necessarily as good as the ones we've already talked about. It's simply that I personally haven't played all the way through them yet, and I'm not going to talk with authority about stuff I haven't played through. First honorable mention goes to Total Chaos. This one is fucking insane. Like, if you haven't seen modern Doom classic mods, it's going to blow you away what's possible to do with this engine. It doesn't even look like it uses the Doom engine, it's mind-blowing. Again, here is the Altar of Gaming description. Total Chaos is a horror mod that easily can keep up with AAA horror games. Think Condemned for the 360 back in the day. Looking at it at first, you wouldn't believe it was actually a Doom mod. When it comes to graphics and presentation, it is in a league of its own, and I second that. Set on the island of Fort Oasis, a once thriving mining colony, you receive a mysterious radio signal. Investigating, you will encounter monsters and other horrors not wishing you well. You'll need to scavenge in order to survive, and naturally inventory management is present as well. Various items can give you buffs, more stamina, even harder attacks. You'll need to keep an eye out for food, craftables, consumables, and so on. There are plenty of weapons at your disposal, but guns naturally in short supply, which leaves you relying on a variety of melee weapons. If you find a gun, you will need to make every shot count, just like Silent Hill or something like that, as there isn't much ammo lying around waiting to be picked up. However, you can't just swing around to stuff aimlessly, as it will drain stamina. If it's drained too much, you will move slower, making it harder to avoid enemy attacks or do a fast retreat, kind of standard horror stuff. The levels and atmosphere of the game are really well thought out, and the sound design will freak you out. Developers managed to nail that horror atmosphere, which is really hard to do, and I agree. Overall, Total Chaos is probably one of the best looking total conversions out there and an amazing horror experience. Again, I second all that. It is much more simmy than anything else, so be prepared for that if you're gonna go check it out. Next is myhouse.wad. This is another one that went super viral, so I wouldn't be surprised if you've heard of it, even if you aren't a Doom fan. This isn't necessarily my kind of thing, but it's just so fucking insane in its own right. No list of Doom WADs, TCs, or mods would be complete without mentioning it. It's basically like if David Lynch made a Doom level. Play this if you watched The Grandmother and thought it was passé. Lastly tonight, I must mention Bloom, the bastard offspring of Doom and Blood, and yes, it's as good as it sounds. Again, here's the excerpt from Altar of Gaming. Bloom is one of the best mods created in recent years and is genius in its design and atmosphere. It takes the elements from two of the best FPS games from that era, Doom and Blood, mixes them into one big unforgettable adventure. You can choose to play as either Doom Guy or Caleb from Blood, both of whom have their own style. For example, Doom Guy can take Caleb's akimbo power, which means a whole lot more firepower. The enemy monsters are a mix of foes from the two games, meaning you will fight something like Zombarons, a mix of zombies and barons of hell. The arsenal of weapons is also interesting, and while Caleb's arsenal is largely unchanged, Doom Guy has a few new toys. Yes, that means the flare gun is still there. a UAC frost gun, which freezes enemies, UAC flamethrower, and a Tesla cannon. Super cool. Every weapon comes with its own type of ammo, so it doesn't waste any other ammo type. The biggest feature of this is level design, which, as you can guess, a mixture of Doom and Blood levels. What's interesting is that all the maps look familiar, but as you progress, they become more and more complex. If you're a seasoned player of FPS games, this will be a nice surprise as the levels will become more dreamlike as you go on. Non-Euclidean geometry, that type of stuff. A definite recommendation for any old school fans and newbies. This one will give you hours of fun. You can see the passion and dedication put into mod, which is always a plus. Now, I agree with all that. The only caveat I'll add is that some of the levels are a bit too non-linear for my taste and include a few too many jumping sections. Otherwise, this shit is totally awesome. Definitely check it out. Alright, that's our show. Thanks so much for chilling tonight, spending this little bit of your free time with us. We love you today. We love you all the fucking way. If you like this kind of vid, please let me know in the comments down below. They take a lot of time to put together and rarely get any views. So if you fuck with it and want to see more stuff like this, let a G know. Anyways, that's all for now. Hope everybody has an awesome or at least tolerable week, and we will catch y'all Friday for some more standard shenanigans.
Woke up, smoke up, blunt, then I pass out, Woke up, what up, smoke up, blunt, then I'm back down, what? Woke up, smoke up, blunt, then I pass out, Woke up, what up, smoke up.